Did someone capture a sleep paralysis demon lurking in the corner of their bedroom? Did these parents snap a photo of their son playing with his imaginary friend? And hear what happened in Texas when a man in a devil mask showed up on a family's doorstep. These are terrifying real devil sightings caught on camera. Did someone capture a shadow person on camera lurking over their bed? This video comes from Carrie E on YouTube, who noticed something terrifying on her home smart camera. Clearly, there's this dark black shape standing in the corner of the room. And at first I didn't really think much of this. I mean, it's not hard to put on some dark clothes and lurk in a corner, but then it moves, and that's when you notice just how unnatural this thing really is. It zips across the room so fast, and in such a smooth, unnatural motion. This is clearly not a person. On top of that, watch how blurry it becomes. It doesn't look like a solid mass anymore. If you've ever had sleep paralysis and felt like something was standing over you or sitting on your chest and restricting your breathing, well, this video probably ain't gonna help you sleep any better, so sorry about that. Did you ever have an imaginary friend growing up? Do you have pleasant memories of said imaginary friend? Well, this next story may make you look back on your childhood a little differently. This photo here was shared online years ago. It looks pretty innocuous, 2 kids playing, but the thing is, there was only one youngster present at the time. At least that's what the parents thought. They were watching their son playing in the living room, saying he was talking with his imaginary friend Pauline. Dad snapped a picture, and when they looked back at it, they nearly screamed. Something else was clearly in the room, at least the camera picked something up. And the closer you look at this mysterious figure, the creepier it becomes. The eyes, the smile. Not only does it look unnatural, it has this air of aggression about it. Pretty creepy photo. So this happened back in January in Texas, just outside of Dallas. 2 homeowners were left terrified after someone showed up at their house wearing a red satanic mask and holding a cardboard sign that said Revelation 21:15. If you know that Bible passage, it's all about the apocalypse, judgment day, that kind of thing. So the devil mask is bad enough, but it's really not the message you want showing up right on your front porch. The whole thing was caught on their doorbell camera. It happened around 8 p.m. on a Saturday. You could see the person dressed in all black standing there a few feet from the door, completely still. They ring the doorbell, wait a few seconds, then knock, and when no one answers, they just walk around the side of the house and stand there in the driveway, still holding the sign. The homeowners were not home at the time. They'd gone out to dinner, but they saw the footage later and they freaked out. "I'm scared," the homeowner told CBS. "I'm scared to leave the house. I'm scared to be at the house." She also said, "It's about the end times. It's about Judgment Day. I freaked out." Police looked into it and said the masked person hadn't been seen at any other homes in the area and technically didn't commit a crime. Still, they said they'd keep an eye on the neighborhood just in case. And a little message to viewers here. Probably not the best idea to knock on some random person's door wearing a devil mask in Texas. Yeah, I don't know about that. Anyway, just what kind of animal are we looking at here? According to the uploader, it wasn't an animal, at least not one he'd ever seen. Reddit user Corrine James posted the image along with a description reading, "EMT friend saw this 2 nights ago, turning his ambulance around at the end of a rural road. It was swaying and its eyes were glowing without the headlights. This was in central Kentucky." Now, interesting thing about Kentucky, it's the home of the Pope Lick monster, aka Goat Man. So a terrifying part man, part goat hybrid with glowing red eyes. I don't know, am I drawing the wrong connections here? Am I crying? I don't know, but what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments. All right, so this video comes from a TikToker named Anelli_RG. Her actual name is Mariana. She took the footage at her church in Mexico. According to her, she always felt a strange, unsettling vibe whenever she was there. Nothing specific she could point to, just a general sense that something wasn't right. So one day she decided to record during Mass to see if she could capture anything unusual on camera, and she did. When she reviewed the footage, she noticed someone or something that she doesn't remember seeing in person at all. It stands out immediately. In her description, she said it wasn't a human, and honestly, it's hard to disagree. The figure looks pale with dark, almost hollow eyes, almost like some lifeless mask. It's not just a case of bad camera quality either. Everyone else in the shot looks completely normal. So what's going on with this ghoulish looking figure?
Number 5. The Nobleman. Gilles de Rais was originally hailed as a hero of France for his role in the 100 Years' War, a time during which he served as a comrade in arms to Joan of Arc. But the nobleman Gilles de Rais lived a secret and gruesome second life, where he enjoyed torment and ending the lives of people who couldn't defend themselves. In September 1440, de Rais was arrested after an almost decade-long spree, during which he may have ended the lives of over 140 victims. During his trial, both de Rais and several of his servants' accomplices confessed to their evil deeds. Now, besides ending people's lives, he also admitted to engaging in Satanism by repeatedly summoning the devil and his demonic minions. While the nobleman refused to sell his soul, he offered the blood and organs of his victims in exchange for knowledge and power over the dark arts. Number 4. Devil Made Me Do It. Now, this story is more about accidentally getting possessed rather than summoning a demon, but I digress. Ed and Lorraine Warren helped exorcise a possessed boy named David Glatzel in the early 80s. Now, David's family had seen him being beaten and choked by invisible hands, and that red marks had appeared on his neck afterward. David had started to growl, hiss, speak in otherworldly voices, and recite passages from the Bible as well. Now, they did many exorcisms on David, and Lorraine said that David levitated, ceased breathing for a time, and even demonstrated the supernatural ability of precognition. Now, during his exorcisms, there was also a rocking chair in the room that would allegedly rock on its own, levitate, and even vanish and reappear. David and Lorraine also claimed to have seen the devil sitting in it. Now, Arnie Johnson was dating David's sister and was present for the exorcisms. In a desperate attempt to help David, Arnie coerced one of the demons to possess him while participating in David's exorcism. Afterwards, Arnie's personality changed. He would fall into a trance-like state where he would growl and hallucinate, but later have no memory of it. Then one day, after his girlfriend Debbie's landlord was drunk and misbehaving, Ernie ended his life. The day after the incident, Lorraine Warren informed Brookfield police that Ernie was possessed when the crime was committed. The case then went on to trial, where Ernie's defense was demonic possession and the devil made me do it. Now, the jury deliberated for 15 hours over 3 days before convicting Ernie of first-degree manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, though he only served 5. Number 3. The Codex Gigas. The Codex Gigas was published in the early 13th century and is written in Latin. The Codex Gigas is a Bible written in a monastery in Bohemia, modern-day Czech Republic. It is also referred to as the Devil's Bible due to a fully colored portrait of Satan taking up a whole page. And when I say a whole page, I mean a full 36-inch page. Yes, this is the largest illustrated medieval manuscript in the world, with a length of 36 inches, a width of 20 inches, and a total back-to-back thickness of almost 9 inches. Wow. Now, the page next to the illustration contains a full depiction of the kingdom of heaven, and there's lots of stories about this book, most likely stemming from the large portrait of the devil. According to the legend, the codex was written by Herman the Recluse, a monk who broke his monastic vow and was sentenced to be walled up alive. Now, in order to try to escape his dire fate, he promised to write a book that would glorify the monastery forever, a book that contained the entire knowledge of the universe. Now, Herman the Recluse was given one try to complete the book, and if he hadn't finished it by dawn, the sentence would be executed. Realizing by midnight that the task was impossible, Herman turned to the devil, who helped him finish the book for the price of his soul. Now, some say that Satan's portrait is his own signature, and others believe that Herman drew the portrait himself as a thanks. Number 2. No more summoning. When this user was asked if they've ever summoned a demon, they said, "Have done it, I don't do it anymore." He didn't have a physical body. Most summonings don't include actual physical forms. We had a mental conversation, and I used ghost writing to keep track of the convo. After the ritual, you're usually very drained of energy, and it's easy to forget details, so documenting is always a good choice. He was very polite, friendly, and even bantered with me. After around an hour of talk, I ended the session, and we never had any problems again. I contacted that specific demon one other time before stopping. Life is easier without demons. And coming in at number 1 is a conversation. This online user said, I spoke to 6 demons over 2 nights. I had no agenda in speaking to these demons. I didn't want to enlist their help with something or even to form a working relationship with them. I just wanted to meet them and interview them. I realized that they are not called demons for nothing. They are chaotic energies who exist to screw things up in various unique ways, and they are tricky. Just talking to them was a bit exhausting. At no point did I feel genuinely threatened, but I did feel unsettled or uncomfortable. If you decide to speak to them, keep your guard up. Don't let yourself say deal as a figure of speech, as one tried to make me do. Watch your words and watch their words too. I started mixing up who was saying what as I was writing the conversation down, which had never happened before, so I realized they were messing with me. I also made a strange Freudian slip, such as almost writing friends hurt each other instead friends trust each other. I noticed when these things happen. I told the spirits, hey, stop doing that, call them out on whatever they try to pull, and don't let them in, don't give them anything.
Coming in at number 10, we have Jay-Z. Can you become the king of the rap game without selling your soul to the devil? Well, probably, but people still think that Jay-Z must have made some sort of deal with the devil in order to make it to the top. There's a lot of hints of satanic symbols in his music videos, and people think that he is in the Illuminati. And this could be real. Maybe him and Beyonce are in a league of evil rich people who want to make the world fall apart so they can control it. But in order to think that Jay-Z is in the Illuminati and sold his soul to the devil, you have to believe in the Illuminati and you have to believe in the devil. And if you don't believe in either of those, Jay-Z is just a very successful guy. That's it. Coming in number 9, we have Johann Georg Faust. Now this one's a little bit of a weird one because it's hard to tell if a dude from the 16th century sold his soul to the devil because he actually put a pentagram on the ground, threw some goat's blood on it and did a little dance and sung a little song and then shook hands with the devil, or was it because he was just an astronomer and back then people thought that meant you worked with the devil. But this dude apparently worked with the devil to get his fame. The devil offered him 16 years at the top of the world of science. When his time came, the devil arrived and he renegotiated. He was able to squeeze out another 8 years out of the devil, and at the end of the 8 years he would pass and everyone would say the devil took his soul. Now this is the part of the story that makes it seem like there could have been something to do with the devil going on. When he died, apparently there was an explosion of fire and all that was found was bits and pieces of his body. Now this could have been an experiment gone wrong that took place in Faust's home, but I don't know what kind of explosives an astronomer would be messing around with. People think that this explosion could have been the devil popping in and ripping his soul right from his body. Maybe he shouldn't have made this deal. Who knows? Coming in number 8, we have Tom Hanks. No way. Not Tom Hanks. There's no way that one of the nicest dudes in the world could have sold his soul to the devil. Well, let's look at the evidence first. He has not only been very successful in Hollywood, but he has also won many Oscars. That is supposed to be a sign that you are part of the Illuminati. He has a really rude son, and that might be because God has cursed him for worshiping the devil. I mean, that is probably just what happens when a kid grows up rich and his parents are too nice to put him in his place, but it also could be the work of God laying down his wrath. But even all of that doesn't mean he sold his soul to the devil so he could be rich through the Illuminati forever. But then people who love to dive deep into conspiracy theories say that Tom Hanks got coronavirus. So that means that he is a pawn in the Illuminati plan. He faked getting sick so that people would believe in the virus and they could continue to take over the world. Whoa! I love these sold your soul stories because they just get crazier and crazier. Coming at number 7, we have Urbain Grandier. It would seem that the devil's reaches far because he has even made a pact with a dude who was the Pope. Now, there isn't a whole lot of evidence that proves whether or not Urbain sold his soul before or after he was Pope, but there is a lot of evidence that this dude was up to some nefarious stuff. He would apparently host and had a number of sexual partners. There's stories of him torturing people who he didn't agree with, and he was also practicing witchcraft. There was a group of nuns that was said to have disrespected him, the Pope of all people, and he sent a demon after them to ruin their life. Well, unlike now, back when this dude was Pope in 1634, if people thought you were up to something with the devil, you would be done for sure. Enough people came forward and accused this guy of witchcraft that there was a trial. During the trial, there was a lot of evidence evidence. There was a contract that had backwards writing on it, said to be the work of the devil, that had the devil's signature on it, or apparently it did. I'm not sure how they fact-checked that one, but many people came forward to disclose this guy's unpope-like acts, and eventually he was burned at the stake. My god. Coming in at number 6, we have Pope Sylvester II. 2 popes back to back. I think it's just salacious to say that a pope was in cahoots with the devil. That's why when you go through history you can find a few popes that have been called out for loving the Dark Lord. Now the difference with Pope Sylvester is that it wasn't that he was excessively rich or because he was involved in sinful acts, it was actually because he was too smart. This guy invented the pendulum lock and the hydraulic organ, and he was in contact with Eastern religions and peoples to get ideas of what they were doing over there so he could incorporate their brilliance into his own society. And because of this, people said he might have got his all-powerful mind from making a deal with the devil. I guess things never change, because now when someone makes it to the top, everyone says they're in the Illuminati.
What would you do if you were working overnight security and saw this person show up on your surveillance camera? I say person, but I mean, look at her, it looks more like a zombie to me. So, at a school in Mexico, this security guard was on an overnight shift when he looked at the surveillance camera by the entrance of the building and saw this unsettling looking person staring up at the camera trying to get inside. The glowing eyes, the unusually long looking arms, this is not what I would want to see trying to break into my workplace in the middle of the night. Again, I'd think a zombie invasion was breaking out. This image was posted to Reddit by Dystopia321, who wrote, "This is a camera set up in the woods. Set up to take photos when it senses movement. Main purpose is to take photos of deer and other wildlife. There were no people that could be in the woods at the time, and it had to have been moving to set off the camera. What is this?" Well, I can't say exactly what it is, but I can say it doesn't look good. A rake, a skinwalker, Wendigo, golem. All possible identities mentioned in the comments, and I don't know, those seem like good guesses to me. What a horrifying looking creature. Could it be some extra tall, thin, pale person skulking through the forest alone in the middle of the night? Sure. But that's not really a comforting thought either, is it? What do you all think of this one? This one legitimately gave me chills, because it took me a few seconds staring at the image before I saw it, but when I did, yeah, just no thank you. Reddit user OrangeFood87 shared the picture saying that back in 2012, their roommate received the image from her boyfriend. He was working at a body shop after hours and snapped a photo of this totaled car that had just been brought into the shop. He was alone at the time and didn't see the eerie figure until he looked back at the photo. Apparently, he closed up early that night, and I can't say I blame him. This picture was taken at the South Pittsburgh Hospital by Reddit user JustOkayAtLife, who wrote, "Taken in the second-story shadow hall where they report a 7-foot-tall shadow figure. This was taken at the end of the night. There was one other guy with me, and he was in front of me to the left. He had the flashlight, so there's no way this shadow was either of ours. If you have a chance and you happen to be in Tennessee, I highly recommend visiting this place. Earlier in the night, I was walking down a dark hallway alone on the first floor, and from the left side of me, there was a doorway where I heard a hissing sound shoot out of one of the rooms, moving towards me. It was an incredible experience. Incredible experience, that's one way of putting it. Our final clip today comes from Saudi Arabia. YouTuber Adventures Jassim79 was doing what he does best, exploring a creepy abandoned place. This time he was walking through an old rundown house, and when he got to the roof, he caught something incredibly chilling on camera. As he passes by a clothesline, through a small opening between sheets, this ghoulish face with pure black eyes appears. Just as fast as it shows up though, it thankfully vanishes. Yeah, I'd be praying too if I saw that face poking out at me. Seeing as this is in Saudi Arabia, many viewers have commented that this could be more than just a ghost, but a jinn. Spirit-like beings from Muslim tradition that can be invisible, shapeshift, and sometimes exhibit a more classical kind of demonic behavior, tormenting people or in some cases, even possessing them. Genuine or not though, It's a pretty creepy video.
Starting off this list at our number 10 spot, we have the Witch's Sabbath. The Witch's Sabbath is a concept in Western European folklore that describes a gathering of witches for a demonic and magical ritual. It was the meeting of the witches. It is said that during the Sabbath, witches would engage in acts of heresy, including devil worship, flesh consumption, and even sexual parties. The event was believed to take place on the night of a full moon, often in remote areas such as mountaintops or crossroads. The concept of the Witch's Sabbath gained popularity during the witch hunt era of the late Middle Ages and the early modern period, with many people accused of witchcraft being accused of attending such gatherings. The idea of the Sabbath was used as evidence of the devil's influence on witches and as a justification for the persecution and execution of those accused. In our number 9 spot today, we have potions. Alright, every time I see like the classic folklore depiction of a witch, I always wonder what it is that they're stirring up in that cauldron. It's bubbling, it's boiling, it's steaming. What is it? A potion, of course. Witches may drink a potion as part of a ritual meant to summon the devil or other supernatural entities. The potion may be made from a variety of ingredients, including herbs, animal parts, or even human blood. The purpose of the potion is often to induce a state of altered consciousness or heightened awareness, allowing the witch to communicate with the otherworldly entities they seek to summon. The ritualistic setting for drinking a potion may vary, but often involves a secluded location. You know, for an occult ritual, we need that eerie setting. The witch may be required to perform certain tasks or complete specific rituals before or after drinking the potion, and the concept of using psychoactive substances as part of a ritual or religious practice is found in various real-world traditions throughout history. However, the summoning of the devil is not a common practice. In our number 8 spot today, we have drawing a pentagram. The pentagram is one of the most recognizable symbols when it comes to all things occult, and drawing a pentagram is a ritualistic act commonly used in magical practices as a way to create a protective barrier or to invoke supernatural forces such as the devil himself. The pentagram is a 5-pointed star, often drawn with a circle around it, and each point represents one of the elements: earth, air, fire, water, and spirit. The pentagram is believed to have protective properties, and drawing it is often done as a way to banish negative energy or spirits, but in some magical traditions, the pentagram is also used to invoke spirits or deities, with each point representing a different aspect of the entity being invoked. The ritual of drawing a pentagram may involve specific movements, such as walking around the perimeter of the pentagram while reciting an incantation. More on that later. While the use of the pentagram has been associated with witchcraft and the occult in popular culture, it is also used in various other spiritual and religious practices. In our number 7 spot today, we have lighting candles. Candles are often used to create a certain ambiance, a vibe, to symbolize different aspects of the ritual and to invoke spiritual energy or entities. The use of specific colors of candles is believed to have different meanings and may be chosen based on the purpose of the ritual. For example, green candles may be used to attract wealth or abundance, while white candles may be used to represent purity or to invite divine energy. If you want to summon the devil, would you use red? I don't know. In some traditions, candles may also be used to represent the elements, with different colors representing earth, air, fire, and water. The act of lighting candles can also be a way to focus the mind and create a sacred space for the ritual. And by lighting candles, the practitioner may be able to connect with the inner self or the higher spiritual energies and to bring their intentions into focus. So I guess next time you're smelling candles before you buy them, think of what scent the devil might be. I feel like he has some notes of cinnamon. Cinnamon and brimstone, coming this fall to a Bath & Body Works near you. In our number 6 spot today, we have incantations. An incantation is a series of words or phrases that are believed to have a certain power or effect, often in a language that is not commonly spoken, like Latin, for example. The recitation of incantations can be a way to focus the mind and to channel spiritual energy, and it is often accompanied by specific movements or gestures. Or I guess in the case of witches, it could sort of act like a magical spell vibe. In some traditions, the incantation may be sung or chanted in a repetitive manner, creating a hypnotic or trance-like state. The purpose of reciting they're just cantations now. The purpose of reciting incantations can vary widely, from attracting love or prosperity to banishing negative energy or entities, or to summon entities. The use of incantations is often based on the belief that words have a certain power or vibration, and that by speaking certain words, the practitioner can tap into this power and create a desired outcome. Sort of like manifesting, but I guess it's like manifesting the devil.
Coming in at number 5, we have Eminem. We all love the story of someone starting at the bottom and now they're here. We love when people are the underdog and work their way to the top. We love how people can defy the odds and become one of the most influential people in the world. Well, that's until they're actually at the top. Then we want to bring them down because it must have been the devil that got them all the way up there. That's the story with Eminem. There have been countless accusations that the rapper made a deal with the devil to jump to stardom and forever be held as one of the best rappers of all time. This is from some of the imagery that you will find in his music videos, whether it's a goat's head, a triangle, a single eye, or many of the other objects that are related to the devil. Well, the rumors about him don't stop there. They also say that the real Eminem is dead, that when he fell out of the public eye for a bit, he pushed back against the Illuminati and no longer wanted to do their bidding. So they killed him and replaced him with a clone that they can control, and that's where he got his perfect beard from. Coming in at number 4, we have Jaden Smith. Can you pass down a deal with the devil to your kids? Like kind of grandfathering them into the product like an old phone contract? Is that possible? Can you do that? I don't know how the devil works. I'm not famous enough to get in contact with him. But apparently Jaden Smith has been gifted the allegiance to the devil through his dad. People base this off of Will Smith's fame and the fact that Jaden has some strange beliefs about the world. He's very interested in a thing called orgos. It's a strange culty belief that the world is governed by positive and negative forces that we can't see. That kind of sounds like midichlorians from Star Wars. But people think that he's using a demonic subsect to try and get people into the Church of Satan. Coming in at number 3, we have Katy Perry. If you become a massive celebrity, there's only one answer, and that is the Illuminati. There's no other reason you could make it to the top. Well, for Katy Perry, that's what everyone thinks. There is a ton of stuff we could pull from, but her biggest one is the music video Dark Horse. Because if any celebrity does anything that even comes close to resembling a pyramid, you better believe that conspiracy theory people are going to come running for it. And of course, this music video has an Egyptian theme, meaning that she must have sold her soul to the devil. There was also the time she performed at the Grammys and they had her in a witch's theme with a massive crystal ball. This means that she was of course doing a satanic ritual in front of the whole world. I mean, what else could it be? Coming in at number 2, we have Oliver Cromwell. Cromwell was a fading politician and commander in the 17th century. Every champion must fall, and usually they don't get back up after their time has come. But with Cromwell, it was quite the opposite. He was able to have a second breath in his career. He was able to stand in the limelight once more. He was able to have all the people clamor at his feet and become the top dog once again. This second run at life saw him become a prominent political figure and a very skilled tactician. While this was probably hard work and intelligent moves, most people wrote this off as the man selling his soul to the devil. Now, the backing to this theory comes from the legend about him when he dies. There was apparently a storm that came over the city and was raging the entire night. People say this was the devil coming down to claim his soul. Now, that might have been true, but I don't know if the devil would go to that much work to get one soul. This guy's getting thousands of souls every day, hundreds of thousands every day. If he had to put on a massive light show to get each one of them, he would never be able to wrangle them all up. He just wouldn't have enough time. And coming into the number 1 spot, we have Christian Bale, probably the best Batman ever, and one of the kings of the meme world with the amount of juice people have been able to pull out of his hit American Psycho. I've never seen American Psycho, but I want to just so I can have a better understanding of what scenes these memes come from. But when did the Dark Knight himself decide to give his soul to the devil and become one of the Dark Lord's little minions? Well, we don't know the exact time of when this might have happened, but Christian Bale has actually publicly thanked Satan after winning a Golden Globe for his work in the movie Vice, where he played Dick Cheney, remember the vice president who shot his friend by mistake, and might have had a hand in the whole Guantanamo Bay thing. Well, during his acceptance speech, Christian Bale went down the regular road of saying thank you to all the people close to him, and then he capped it off by saying thank you to Satan for inspiration. Now, this might have just been the actor taking a stab at how ruthless Dick Cheney is, saying that the man is actually the devil, or maybe he was actually thanking the devil for giving him the juice he needs to do what he needed to do to play the role. Like the devil materialized in his room and helped him go over lines. If that is the case, the devil doesn't seem like that bad of a dude.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have the Ordo Templi Orientis. The Ordo Templi Orientis is a controversial esoteric organization that was founded in the early 20th
20th century by Karl Kellner and Theodor Reuss in Germany. Originally meant to be modeled after and associated with European Freemasonry, under the leadership of famous occultist Aleister Crowley, the group had a change in philosophy to be more aligned with Crowley's principles of Thelema. The cult is known for its secretive nature and controversial practices, including the use of ritualistic magic and sexual practices as a means of spiritual advancement. The organization has a hierarchical structure and emphasizes the importance of individualism and personal freedom. Of course, like with most cults, there are some controversial practices, but despite this controversy, the group has attracted a following among those interested in occultism and alternative spirituality. In our number 9 spot today, we have the Order of the Black Sun. The Order of the Black Sun is a secretive and controversial cult that has been the subject of much speculation and debate in recent years. Founded in the early 20th century, the group is believed to be based in Europe and has been linked to a number of bizarre and disturbing practices, including human sacrifice, occult rituals, and the worship of ancient deities. Members of the cult are said to be highly secretive and tightly knit, with their activities shrouded in mystery and hidden from public view. Many have claimed that the Order of the Black Sun is involved in a wide range of illegal and nefarious activities that include high-level crimes, as well as the manipulation of political and financial systems for their own gain. Many people claim that this group was founded by Heinrich Himmler and that its members included many high-ranking SS officers. People also have suggested that this cult attempted to use demon summoning as a way to help them win World War II. Even the demons were like, no, absolutely not. Despite numerous investigations into the group, very little concrete information is known about the Order of the Black Sun, and many questions remain unanswered about their true motives and activities. However, what is certain is that this enigmatic cult continues to captivate and intrigue people around the world, with many eager to uncover the truth about this very shadowy organization. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Hellfire Club. The Hellfire Club was a notorious secret society that existed in Britain during the 18th century. It was an extensive club that included some of the wealthiest and most influential people of the time, including politicians, aristocrats, and members of the royal family. The club was known for its very decadent parties, which were said to involve heavy drinking and gambling and all of the things people think these elite secretive parties hold. However, there were also rumors of more sinister activities, such as satanic rituals and human sacrifice. The Hellfire Club was shrouded in secrecy, and its members went to great lengths to keep their activities hidden from the public. However, their reputation as a group of debauched and immoral individuals eventually caught up with them, and they became the subject of scandalous rumors and gossip. Today, the legacy of the Hellfire Club lives on in pop culture, with many books, movies, TV shows featuring references to the group and their supposed activities. Despite these references, though, the true nature of the club's activities remain a mystery to this day. We're just left to speculate and come up with conspiracy theories. Drop your best one down below. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Order of the Nine Angels. This culty cult is a controversial and secretive organization that has been associated with the occult, Satanism, as well as having ties to some pretty controversial, hateful, and horrible beliefs. The group's origins are murky, but it is believed to have been founded in the United Kingdom in the 1970s. The ONA claims to be based on the principles of traditional Satanism and advocates for a return to pre-Christian pagan society. The teachings of the group are said to be highly esoteric and involve a very complex system of rituals, beliefs, and practices, which sounds really cool and mysterious until you hear that the group has been accused of promoting violence, extremism, and hate. Many people have accused the group of practicing black magic, as well as using the practice of summoning demons, and apparently this group has even been able to be linked to horrifying crimes, which include killings. Because of the nature of the controversy surrounding this group, its teachings have been banned in several countries, but despite these bans, the group continues to operate in secret, with its members communicating online and in private meetings. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. The Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn was a mystical and magical organization that emerged in the late 19th century in England. It was founded by 3 prominent figures: William Wynne Westcott, Samuel Liddell McGregor Mathers, and William Robert Woodman. All three of these guys were fascinated by the esoteric teachings of ancient civilizations and sought to create a system that combined spiritual and mystical practices. The order drew upon various mystical and occult traditions, including Kabbalah, alchemy, astrology, and tarot, in order to create a comprehensive system of magical practices. Its teaching emphasized personal development, spiritual evolution, and the attainment of spiritual knowledge and enlightenment. The order's rituals and teachings were highly secretive and were only accessible to members who had undergone a rigorous initiation process. Its members included prominent figures such as Aleister Crowley, of course, W.B. Yeats, and Arthur Edward Waite, who went on to make significant contributions to the fields of mysticism and occultism. Despite the relatively short existence of this group, the order has had a profound impact on modern Western esotericism and continues to inspire spiritual seekers and magicians to this day. In our number 5 spot today, we have sacrifice. Some depictions of witchcraft involve the sacrifice of animals or humans as part of the ritual. This can be done as a way to appease the devil or to gain favor in exchange for the sacrifice. In reality, the vast majority of practitioners of witchcraft do not engage in animal or human sacrifice, and such practices are widely condemned by mainstream spiritual and religious groups, which feels very important to note. But that's not to say it's never happened before at a terrifying occult ritual. In fictional depictions, the sacrifice of animals or humans is often portrayed as a way to offer something of value to the devil or other demonic entities in exchange for power or favors. The sacrifice may be accompanied by other ritualistic elements, such as the other ones that we've spoken about today. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Ouija board. Ouija boards are a popular divination tool that have been used for over a century to communicate with spirits or entities from the other side. The board consists of letters, numbers, and other symbols, and is often used in conjunction with a planchette, a small device that moves across the board to spell out messages. While Ouija boards are not inherently connected to witchcraft, they have been associated with the practice in pop culture. This association may be due in part to the fact that the boards were originally marketed as a parlor game in the late 19th century, but quickly became associated with the spiritualist movement and other alternative belief systems. In popular culture, witches may use Ouija boards as a means of communicating with the devil or other demonic entities, or to gain insight into the future and other spiritual realms. Just remember, at the end of each Ouija board session, it is imperative to close things and properly say goodbye, or else who knows what might be left in our realm. In our number 3 spot today, we have the special objects. Witches may use specific objects or tools as a part of their ritual. These may include things like crystals, herbs, bones, or other items that are believed to have magical properties or specific energies. The witch may also use ritualistic tools such as a wand or a thame to direct energy or focus their intentions. The use of specific objects and tools is meant to create a certain ambiance or to focus the mind, or may be based on specific traditions or beliefs. Certain demons may have certain objects associated with them that could ease in appeasing them upon summoning, and some other objects might just be used to help assist in the desired outcome. In our number 2 spot today, we have the pact. In fictional depictions of witchcraft, making a pact with the devil is often portrayed as a way for witches to gain supernatural powers or other favors. The pact may involve the witch offering their soul or performing certain tasks for the devil in exchange for these benefits. The ritualistic setting for making a pact with the devil may vary, but often involves a secluded location such as a dark forest or abandoned building. The witch may be required to perform certain tasks or complete specific rituals as a part of the pact-making process, which may involve the use of special objects or incantations. The concept of making a pact with a supernatural entity is found in various mythological and folkloric traditions throughout history. In reality, however, the vast majority of practitioners of witchcraft do not engage in such practices, and such pacts are not a common element of mainstream spiritual or religious groups. It is definitely not recommended to make a deal with the devil because things are never as good as they may seem at first. There's always a catch with that contract. And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have dancing in a circle. In fictional depictions of witchcraft, dancing in a circle is often portrayed as a a key element of a ritual meant to summon the devil or other demonic entities. The circle may be drawn on the ground or formed by the witches holding hands, and the dancing may be accompanied by chanting, singing, or the playing of musical instruments. The purpose of the circle dance is often to create a certain energy or atmosphere and to symbolize the unity of the witches in their goal of summoning the devil. The circle may also serve as a protective barrier, keeping the witches safe from any negative energies or entities that may be summoned. Many believe that using movement and rhythm helps with the purpose of summoning demonic entities, and when attempting to summon the ruler of hell himself, you definitely need to bring out all the stops.
Number 10. The violinist. It's been long said that successful artists have made a deal with the devil, and this has been going on for hundreds of years. An Italian violinist named Giuseppe Tartini claimed the devil appeared to him in a dream and played for him the most incredible piece of music he had ever heard. Here is how he described the experience. One night in the year 1713, I dreamed I had made a pact with the devil for my soul. Everything went as I wished. My new servant anticipated my every desire. Among other things, I gave him my violin to see if he could play. How great was my astonishment on hearing a sonata so wonderful and so beautiful, played with such great art and intelligence as I had ever even conceived in my boldest flights of fantasy. Upon waking, Giuseppe tried to recreate it, and that became his magnum opus, known as the Devil's Trill Sonata. Number 9. Exorcism gone wrong. In 1997, Father Gabriel Amorth conducted his exorcisms in Rome, and he asked for the help of Jesus, and the young man he was dealing with began to curse and spit, and started using English instead of his native Italian. Screaming and howling, the demon burst forth and looked straight at him, drooling saliva from the young man's mouth. Father Gabriel said he returned fire with prayers and other ritual recitations, demanding that the demon reveal its name. He said, "Unclean spirit, whoever you are and all your companions who possess this servant of God, I command you, tell me your name, the day and the hour of your damnation." The man fixed him with a glare, snarled, and said, "I am Lucifer." Father Gabriel was shocked. He did not expect to receive such a terrifying response. The father mostly used prayers as his weapon, reciting verses of liberation from the Roman rite of exorcism. As Father Gabriel continually commanded the demon to leave the host, it eventually left, but my goodness, that sounds absolutely terrifying. Number 8. Witch trials. Sarah Good was one of the first 3 women to be accused of witchcraft in the Salem witch trials, which occurred in 1692 in Massachusetts. On March 25th, 1692, Sarah was tried for witchcraft, and when she was brought in, the accusers immediately began to rock back and forth and moan, seemingly in response to Sarah's presence. Later in the trial, one of the accusers fell into a fit. Now, Sarah denied the allegations against her, but another woman on trial admitted to being the devil's servant. She stated that a tall man dressed in all black came to them, demanding they sign their names in a great book. Although initially refusing, she eventually wrote her name after Sarah, and another woman forced her to. When Sarah was allowed the chance to defend herself in front of the 12 jurors in the Salem Village Meeting House, she argued her innocence, proclaiming that the other 2 were the real witches. In the end, however, Sarah was convicted of witchcraft and sentenced to death. So, did she really meet the devil, or was she innocent? Who knows? Number 7. Strayed from the path. This is the testimony of Jennifer Perez, who was brought up in a Christian home. She strayed from that path, got into drugs, died, and was sent to hell. Fortunately, she was given a second chance, but this is her story. She was in the hospital and her spirit woke up, but her body didn't. As a spirit, 2 men dressed in red approached her and told her to come with them. She went to heaven and saw the Lord and 2 angels, Gabriel and Michael. She and Gabriel went through a black door, and it was dark and they were falling. The farther they fell, the hotter it was, and she said it smelled like sulfur. They got to the bottom and she realized that she was in hell, seeing people being tortured by various demons. The cries and torture scared her, and then she saw a massive red creature in the middle of it all, just watching everything. She assumed that this was the devil, and it terrified her. After this, she then ascended back to heaven and was asked for a second chance. She then woke up in the hospital, alive, and devoted the rest of her life to God. Number 6. Mom met the devil. A user on Reddit posted this story about the time their mother met the devil. They said, "My mom told me a story of when she met the devil. She was in high school, she had a friend who was dating an older man. He was probably 20 to 30 years older than her, and he gave her a necklace. Not wanting to get caught by her parents, she gave the necklace to my mom. She wore it, and that night when my mom slept, she dreamt of a man. Clean cut and handsome, but disturbingly evil. She said all she knew about the man was that he was pure evil. He came up to her face, eyes locked on her, stone cold and expressionless, reached for her neck and grabbed the necklace from her neck and twirled it in a circle in the air like a witch's pendant. She jolted awake and couldn't feel the necklace, and in a panic she looked all around for the necklace and found it under her pillow in a perfect spiral."
In our number 5 spot today, we have the Kabiri Mysteries. The Kabiri Mysteries refer to a set of ancient Greek religious practices and rituals associated with the Kabiri deities, a group of enigmatic gods worshipped in various regions of Greece, particularly on the island of Samothrace. The mysteries involved secretive initiation ceremonies that were performed exclusively by the initiated members of the cult and were believed to impart special knowledge and spiritual power to the participants. It's one of the most secretive religious groups in history, and the exact nature of the group remains the subject of intense debate among scholars because there is so little information to go on. It is generally believed that the cult was closely connected to the cults of Demeter and Persephone, and that the initiation rites involved elements of mysticism, fertility rites, and underworld symbolism. This mystery group exerted a significant influence on the development of Greek religion and culture, and were celebrated by various communities throughout the Hellenistic world. Despite the mystery that shrouds them, the Kabiri Mysteries continues to fascinate scholars and enthusiasts alike, offering a tantalizing glimpse into the ancient religious practices of Greece. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Church of Satan. The Church of Satan is a religious organization founded in 1966 by Anton LaVey. Despite its name, the Church of Satan does not worship Satan as a deity, but rather advocates for individualism, self-indulgence, and rational thinking. LaVey created the Church of Satan as a reaction to what he saw as the hypocrisy of mainstream religion and the repressive nature of society at the time. The Church of Satan's philosophy is centered around the concept that Satan is a symbol of rebellion and individual freedom. Members believe in indulging in their desires and pursuing their own happiness as long as it doesn't harm others. The church also promotes the idea of magic as a tool for self-improvement and self-realization. Heard that's where the demon summoning comes in. Demons aren't all bad, some can be helpful, you just need to know what you're doing. Of course, with a name like the Church of Satan, you're gonna face some controversy, and this group certainly has received its fair share of criticism over the years, with many accusing it of promoting evil and immorality. The organization maintains that it is a legitimate religion with a unique philosophy and worldview. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Temple of Set. The Temple of Set is a religious organization that was founded in 1975 by Michael Aquino, a former member of the Church of Satan. Wow, what a crazy connection. The Temple of Set is based on the philosophy of Setianism, and the group mainly focuses on the worship of Set, an ancient Egyptian deity associated with chaos, strength, and individuality. The Temple of Set is unique among religious organizations in that it places a strong emphasis on individualism and self-realization. It also incorporates elements of ancient Egyptian religion, as well as ideas from other Western esoteric traditions. Members of the Temple of Set are encouraged to pursue knowledge and self-discovery through practices such as meditation, ritual magic, and intellectual inquiry. The organization is very secretive and very exclusive, with membership only available through invitation. While believing in and worshipping the deity, those who belong to this group also believe in the existence of demons and other supernatural entities. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Manson family, started by the horrible Charles Manson. This story starts off when Manson was released from prison in 1967, where he then moved to San Francisco, where he gained a small following that would eventually go on to be the cult known as the Family. This charismatic yet very unstable ex-convict attracted a group of young and vulnerable followers who believed he was a messianic figure with profound insights into society and the future of humanity. And not only this, but they also believed that he had supernatural powers as well. The group eventually moved to an abandoned ranch outside of Los Angeles, and it was here that Manson continued to brainwash his followers and manipulate them with his own religious philosophies. Manson's followers carried out these brutal killings under his instructions, which he claimed were a part of a twisted plan to incite a race war he called Helter helter-skelter. In the end, Manson and several of his followers were eventually arrested and charged for the crimes, with a trial that was highly publicized. Manson's bizarre behavior and manipulative tactics in court further solidified his reputation as a deranged cult leader, and the story of this cult has had a lasting impact on American culture and continues to fascinate and absolutely horrify people to this day. Finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Knights Templar. The Knights Templar, also known as the Poor Fellow Soldiers of Christ and the Temple of Solomon, was a medieval Christian military order that was founded in the 12th century to protect pilgrims traveling to the Holy Land during the Crusades. The order became known for their bravery and skill in battle, and they quickly gained wealth and power throughout Europe. The Knights Templar became one of the most influential and respected organizations of their time, with members including knights, monks, and priests who took vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They were known for their distinctive white mantles with a red cross and their motto, "Not to us, Lord, not to us, but to your name give glory." However, their power and wealth eventually became a threat to some European monarchs and the church, which many claim led to their downfall. The Knights Templar were disbanded in the early 14th century, especially since they were being accused of heresy and devil worship by the Catholic Church.
Coming up in our number 10 spot, we have Jack Parsons. Known for being an American engineer, Jack Parsons was alive from 1914 to 1952. He grew up reading sci-fi stories about rocket ships and people going out into space. Apparently, when he was 13 years old, he planned to sell his soul to the devil in exchange for a real live rocket ship. Of course, it didn't work out, but he didn't let it discourage him, and as he grew older, he tried to create a rocket engine powerful enough to travel to outer space. Apparently, in his 20s, he began to follow occult leader Aleister Crowley, and he attempted at doing a spell himself called the Babylon Working. This spell was supposed to help him summon a goddess by the name of Babylon that would help men go to the moon someday. Jack ended up inventing jet fuel that is used by NASA even today, so arguably his spell worked. Or perhaps the devil helped him out and he actually sold his soul without knowing it. I guess we'll never know. In our number 9 spot, we have Robert Johnson. Robert Johnson was a very known guitarist of his time. Robert was alive from 1911 to 1938. Not a very long life, and it's probably because the devil said to him, "Come home, my child." Or so I imagine. Word on the street is that he apparently grew up quite poor and wanted a prosperous life, and so he went to the crossroads of a major highway and made a deal with the devil himself. He wrote a song called Me and the Devil Blues, where he talks about walking alongside with the devil. So honestly, that's all the proof I need. He died at only 27 years old, and his music became quite popular after his passing. He apparently was forgiven for his sins after he passed, and was then allowed to be buried in the Mount Zion Missionary Baptist Church in Mississippi. In our number 8 spot, we have Bob Dylan. Okay, so I know what you're thinking. Bob Dylan, Melissa, the musical icon. Do you really think he sold his soul to the devil? Look, I'm just here to present the evidence. You can decide, you can speculate. There is some evidence that points to this being a possibility, and even I'm quite shook. You may or may not know of the song he wrote called Crossroads, where he tells the story of him being at a crossroads with his soul. In the song, he talks about falling to his knees and pleading to the Lord to save his soul. But then he also says, "And I'm standing at the crossroads, believe I'm sinking down." Sinking down into the fiery pits of hell, perhaps? Some speculate that this crossroads that he is referring to is the same crossroads where Robert Johnson supposedly offered his soul to the devil. Apparently, in an interview once while talking about the song, Bob is quoted as saying, "I made a bargain with it a long time ago, and I'm holding up my end." Whatever it is, we never found out, but since he sunk down, I'm going to say that it was probably with Lucifer himself. In our number 7 spot, we have Niccolo Paganini. I really tried with the accent. Born in Italy in 1782, Niccolo was known for being a professional violinist. By the age of 12, he was already touring and doing shows, and by 15, he went on a world tour. Apparently his mom was such a hardcore stage mom that people of the time believed that she summoned Satan to make sure her son sold out concerts. Love this. Even in the 1700s, momagers existed. People also believed that he himself was walking with the devil. Probably a bad rumor because he was so talented, and jealousy probably took over his competitors of the time. But maybe there was some basis for this, as he was said to have abnormally long fingers that moved so quickly, and his skin was very rubbery-like. There are medical explanations for this today, but perhaps people of the time thought that they were witnessing a magical being of some sort, and that's why they attributed it to the devil. Apparently on his deathbed, he freaked out when a Catholic priest came to pray for him, and he said that he would be saved, and for the priest to leave. Spoiler alert, he was not saved, but this last act was all people needed to hear to confirm their speculations. In our number 6 spot, we have Jimmy Page. Yep, another one that I find surprising, but honestly, I'm more of a pop hip-hop listener, so it's not surprising that I'm a little ignorant to the goings-on within a hardcore rock band, so yeah. Jimmy Page was the guitarist for the band Led Zeppelin. Apparently he was very interested in occult teachings, and specifically by the famous occultist Aleister Crowley. He was such a huge fan that he ended up buying Aleister's home in Scotland. He would relay stories about scary sounds he would hear in the house and of how people had died there. This of course led people to think that he was probably involved in some kind of dark magic like a lot of musicians, and quite possibly sold his soul to the devil. Because of his reputation, people began to believe the other band members were Satanists as well. Apparently people believe that if you play Stairway to Heaven backward, you hear demon-like voices. Holy crap, that's terrifying. Can someone do it and maybe report back to me? Okay, thanks.
Number 5. TikTok doctor. Once, a man who was pronounced dead by his doctor after being injured said that rather than seeing a bright light and the feeling of coming home, he instead saw hell itself and met the devil. A doctor took to TikTok to explain that he encountered a young man in his early 20s who had been stabbed in the heart after being involved in a deal that went wrong. Not willing to let the man die, medical staff took the victim into surgery, kept him from losing too much blood, and treated the wound in his heart. The doctor remembers the man waking up 4 hours later and crying, claiming that he went straight down to hell and looked straight in the eyes of the devil. The man said he could see the doctors working to save his life, and having never prayed before, gave it a try, at which point an angel pulled him back up out of hell. Remembering how clear the man had been, the doctor said it was the most amazing experience because he was legit. I mean, nobody makes up an experience like that. The last I heard, he's completely changed his life, he gave his life to God, and I still to this day, the look in his eyes when he woke up, the terror, I'm absolutely convinced he did meet the devil. Number 4. Working for the devil. Gilles de Rais was originally hailed a hero of France for his role in the 100 Years' War, a time during which he served as a comrade in arms to Joan of Arc, but the nobleman Gilles de Rais lived a secret, gruesome second life where he enjoyed ending the lives of people who couldn't defend themselves. In September 1440, de Rais was arrested after an almost decade-long spree in which he may have ended the lives of over 140 victims. During his trial, both de Rais and several of his servants/accomplices confessed to their evil deeds. Besides ending people's lives, he also admitted to engaging in Satanism by reportedly summoning the devil and his demonic minions. While the nobleman refused to sell his soul, he offered the blood and organs of his victims in exchange for knowledge and power over the dark arts. Number 3. God wanted her to see hell. Josefa Menendez was a young Spanish sister who had a short religious life of great suffering and experienced many revelations throughout her life. More than once she was taken to hell to witness and feel the suffering firsthand. Sister Josefa was reluctant to write on the subject of hell, and did so only to conform to her Lord's wishes. She wrote about her experiences in her journal, and she described it as the greatest torment of hell, namely the soul's inability to love. She wrote, "One of these damned souls cried out, 'This is my torture, that I want to love and cannot, there is nothing left me but hatred and despair. If one of us could so much as make a single act of love, but we cannot, we live on hatred. As mentioned, she went to hell multiple times, but one time she saw the devil. She wrote, souls were crying out and the devil answered, insinuate yourselves by including carelessness in them, but keep in the background so that you are not found out. Tempt these others into ambition, into self-interest, to acquiring wealth without working, whether it be lawful or not. That entry was from February 3rd, 1923. She visited hell many times after that, but didn't report on seeing the devil again. And that sounds absolutely terrifying. Number 2, in a coma. Will Carroll is a drummer who has been in the band Death Angel since 2009 and has provided the drum tracks for their last 4 studio albums. After spending nearly 2 weeks in a coma fighting Will revealed that during his battle with the virus, he saw the afterlife, where he would be sent to hell and meet Satan. The illness left him in a critical state where he was put on a ventilator while lying unconscious in a California Pacific Medical Center hospital bed for 12 days before recovering. He said that the devil would punish him for the deadly sin of sloth. The musician said Satan would transform him into a creature similar to that of Star Wars' Jabba the Hutt, and that he would vomit blood until he ultimately had a heart attack. Will told the San Francisco Chronicle that what he went through allowed him to change some of his typical lifestyle habits, including his once heavy alcohol and illegal substance use. I'm also going to listen to satanic metal though, he joked, but he later admitted that after beating COVID-19, he doesn't think Satan's quite as cool as he used to. And coming up at number 1, The Devil Made Me Do It. Sound familiar? It's because the third Conjuring movie has the same title. This film is inspired by the real events that took place with Arnie Johnson. Ed and Lorraine Warren were helping exorcise a possessed boy named David Glatzel in the early 80s. David's family had seen him being beaten and choked by invisible hands, and that red marks had appeared on his neck afterwards. David had started to growl, hiss, speak in otherworldly voices, and recite passages from the Bible as well. They did many exorcisms on David, and Lorraine said that David levitated, ceased breathing for a time, and even demonstrated the supernatural ability of precognition. During his exorcisms, there was also a rocking chair in the room that would allegedly rock on its own, levitate, and even vanish and reappear. David and Lorraine also claimed to have seen the devil sitting in it. Arnie then coerced one of the demons to possess him while participating in one of David's exorcisms. Afterwards, Arnie's personality changed. He would fall into a trance-like state where he would growl and hallucinate, but later have no memory of it. Then one day, his and his girlfriend's Debbie's landlord was drunk and misbehaving, so Ernie ended his life. The day after the incident, Lorraine Warren informed the Brookfield police that Ernie was possessed when the crime was committed. The case then went on to trial where Ernie's defense was demonic possession and the devil made me do it. The jury deliberated for 15 hours over 3 days before convicting Ernie of first-degree manslaughter. He was sentenced to 10 to 20 years in prison, though he only served 5.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have a Mexico circus demon. This demon story takes place in Mexico in 1942 and is a son recounting his father's story from when he was 20 years old. The father and his younger brother went to check out the circus that had just arrived in town. They were most excited to see the freak shows, but after checking them out for a while, there wasn't really anything that was piquing their interest. They met a couple girls and they were about to go check out some music when a man wearing a dinner jacket came up and started talking to them. He said he was the greatest illusionist in the world and that he could show them a trick both scary and amazing. He also said that he wasn't actually part of the circus and that he had auditioned, but they said his act was so frightening they couldn't allow him in the circus. The father and his brother were both very intrigued now and asked to see the trick, and the man said he could only show them if they came to his trailer, which wasn't too far away. In 2021, we know that you never go to a stranger's trailer, but they all followed the man in this story. Once at the trailer, the man begins his trick. He holds up his right hand and then puts a white glove on it. He then waves his left hand around his right, wiggling his right fingers and chanting some words that the guys didn't understand. He then asks if they're ready. The guys reply yes. and the man pulls the white glove off of his hand, revealing his hand as only a skeleton. The man even went as far as to grab the father's head with his skeleton hand to prove it was real. The boys of course got out of there as quickly as possible. In our number 9 spot today, we have the demon on the veranda story. Before I dive into this one, guys, please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're enjoying the video so far, because it really helps us out. This story takes place in a small village in India when the storyteller was 16 years old and living in a boarding school. All the girls slept in a big hall, and one night one of the other girls, named Malty, woke her up around 1 a.m. as Malty wasn't feeling too well. She goes to get some water and went outside on the veranda with Malty to try and help her feel better, as she was feeling very nauseous. She looked to the right and saw the far end of the veranda, and there was only one light, and the rest of the light was all coming from the moon. After a while of comforting Malty, she looked up to the right again and saw a kind of cat-like figure, but after a closer look, this cat had the head of a human and was bald with big eyes. She tried to convince herself that her eyes were deceiving her, but it began getting closer and she could see it more clearly. She was frozen with fear, and by the time this creature was around 10 meters away from her, it let out a meow sound that absolutely terrified her. She screamed, grabbed Malty, and got both of them back into the hall where everyone was still sleeping. This of course woke everyone up though, and the warden came over to see what all the commotion was about. She asked the warden not to make any loud sounds and begged her not to open the door. Everyone in the hallway looked outside and saw this shadowy creature moving before it just disappeared. To this day, she still isn't exactly sure what she saw, but she's glad she has never encountered it again. In our number 8 spot today, we have this sleep paralysis demon. This story comes from the Reddit user JStation666, and this is what they had to say about their demon encounter. I was laying in bed and fell asleep, and I woke up not being able to move or scream. I tried my best and it went on for about 5 minutes. It stopped, but after that I felt hands around my throat trying to choke me. I look up and all I see is a very tall black outline of a figure with flaming hair, and I could feel its long finger-like claws around my neck. The next morning I get up and there's red marks around my neck of what looks like very large hands. Sadly, I didn't take a picture when I should have, but after, it's hard for me to get to sleep in a dark room. I feel like I would have thought this was just a scary case of sleep paralysis, but the waking up with hand marks around their throat truly is very scary and kind of unexplainable. I am glad that they made it through this frightening situation. In our number 7 spot today, we have this eye-changing demon. This story comes from the Reddit user Katzabar from a time when they were around 11 or 12 years old. He starts off with explaining that they moved apartments a lot growing up, and no matter where they went, entities would always find him, and he also tells us that he had bright blue eyes like his mother's, which will be important later. They moved into a new apartment and things immediately began to go poorly. He had a dream where he was in a bright white room and there was a beast on the ceiling that looked into his eyes and roared. The roar obviously frightened him and he woke up screaming, which of course woke up his mother, who rushed to his side. His mother was also very frightened, not only because she woke up to the sound of her son screaming, but because his scream did not sound like a little boy's, but was like the scream of a grown man. If this whole situation wasn't already strange enough, after this dream, his eyes turned from that bright blue color to a hazel color and have never changed back to blue. If that really is true, I have no idea how that happened, and that is honestly pretty crazy. In our number 6 spot today, we have this gray skin demon. This story comes from Pink Magic 724 on Reddit and is about a night they had a few years ago while still in college. Pink Magic's best friend of many years was in town, so they went out for a dinner to catch up and spend some time together. They, of course, end up getting a bit caught up, as best friends do, and before they know it, it is around 2 a.m. and definitely time for them to head home. Pink Magic's friend was the one who drove, so they headed off to Pink Magic's house. They're at an intersection waiting for the light to turn green when Pink Magic turns their head and looks out the window into the car next to them. This is when she sees the person next to them is looking directly at them, but they have gray skin, completely black eyes with no white, and they are smiling, but their teeth are long and sharp. Whoever or whatever this thing is, it will not break eye contact. Pink Magic tries to scream, but no sound will come out, and eventually the friend sees the creature too and immediately speeds out of there. To this day, neither of them like to talk about it, and neither of them are quite sure what exactly they witnessed.
In our number 5 spot, we have Antoine Rose, the iconic witch that led to the world understanding that where there is a witch, there is a magical broomstick. Antoine's story is a tragic one. In today's society, she would be known as a poor single mother that turned to illicit substances. But in the year 1477, the world was much different. Apparently, Antoine was convinced that another witch tried to kidnap her son, but her and her son stabbed the witch in the arm to stop her. Witnesses of the time swore that she spoke to the devil, asking him for help, most likely in a trance-like state from an illicit substance, but again, this was a different time. These witnesses watched her slather on an ointment on a broomstick and placed it in between her legs. Apparently, the ointment was a psychedelic herb that can only be absorbed through the skin, so it makes sense as to why she maybe did it this way. Anyways, long story short, she was accused of being a witch, and she eventually confessed to working with the devil. But when you think about it, she probably did think that she had been working with the devil because perhaps she had a weird trip where she believed she spoke to a spirit, and if she didn't have anyone to say, "Hey gal, that's totally normal when you have a crazy trip," like the thousands of people online seem to say, then she perhaps did think she was crazy and that she had talked to the devil. In our number 4 spot, we have Gilles de Rais. You may recognize this famous French name as he was a knight that fought alongside Joan of Arc. He was very close friends with Joan and took it very hard when she was kidnapped and burned at the stake. Apparently, after her death, he turned to alchemy and became fascinated with the idea of eternal life. Over the years, he had grown to be one of the richest people in France, and it was said that the Catholic Church was wanting money from him. Ignoring this request, he actually decided to put on a play, but this wasn't just any play, it was a major production with paid actors and set builders alike. It has been said that the church was furious about this, and so they marketed him to the public as a serial killer and convinced them that he worshipped Satan because he practiced alchemy. He was sentenced to death, and afterwards, all of his assets were seized by none other than the Catholic Church. Wow. Look, there's good and bad people in every place of the world, and there's good and bad people that practice every religion. But it just hurts my soul when I hear stories like this because I'm sure there are tons of good Catholics of the world, and this kind of story paints them all as bad. So why do the bad guys always ruin it for everyone else? In our number 3 spot today, we have Giuseppe Tartini. Excuse me as I butcher these Italian names. Give me a pass, I'm British. Just love me. Giuseppe Tartini is known for being a famous Italian composer and violinist. He was more specifically known for being able to play a song that is so complicated, many people today can't even play it. The song is called The Devil's Trill Sonata, and it is a song that he composed after he was apparently woken up by the devil himself. The devil was sitting on the edge of his bed and playing his violin. Apparently, after that night, he could magically play trills that are almost impossible for people to play. So naturally, everyone assumed that he made a deal with the devil. I believe it. In our number 2 spot, we have the Salem Witches. Okay, so if you don't know about the Salem witch trials, you should definitely do some Googling tonight after this because this is some juicy history. In the late 1600s, there were many women who were said to be friendly with the devil in Salem, Massachusetts. The people of the town drank some kind of marketing Kool-Aid and were convinced that certain citizens had powers and did rituals in the woods. A total of 25 people lost their lives during these trials, and of course, these accusations were never proven, and many years later, it was discovered that it really was a lie that spread like wildfire. A super sad story and a pretty crazy part of American history. In our number 1 spot, we have Aleister Crowley himself. Known for referring to himself as the Beast or the Antichrist, Aleister Crowley is a very famous occult leader and magician. He is also known for having occult gatherings where people were encouraged to explore each other naked while they would do rituals. He was kicked out of Italy in 1923 for word of these gatherings had gotten around. He was once quoted as saying that God and Satan fought over his soul. And I guess we can assume that Satan won because he would highly encourage people to focus on selfish acts which were considered satanic at the time. Or perhaps still is, depending on who you ask and what religion you were brought up with. Crowley was known for saying, "Do what thou wilt," which basically means do whatever you want in life. That is exactly what is promoted in society today, so perhaps maybe he was just a forward thinker of the time. But his own mother would call him Satan, so I'm gonna bet that he probs did sell his soul to the devil.
Coming in at number 10 is meditation. On April 13th, 2022, Stephanie Hosmeyer replied to the question online that read, "Have you accidentally summoned a demon?" She replied by saying, "Yes, I did. Wow, what a mistake. I think I was just meditating with these stones a friend gave me for watching her dogs for her. They were polished stones in a medicine bag. So I was holding 4 in each hand and kinda just letting my mind wander when I got slammed in the back and saw white stars in my head. I heard demonic laughter and a bunch of banging upstairs. I blew out my candle and fled the house. When I went back, the house seemed okay, but that night I saw shadow crawlers all over the walls and poltergeist activities began. I heard children laughing when my kids were at school. Things came up missing to be found where I already looked. I saw a figure in the hallway so many times I put my hand out to not run into him. And my luck was so bad, it still is. We fled that house in the night and burned it down." Number 9. School summoning. Now, according to legend, one cold night in the early 1600s, a group of schoolboys were naively dabbling in arcane magic when, by some terrible ritual using mere bread and sticks, they summoned Satan himself from the flames of the fireplace. Now, the terrified boys sought desperately to send the Prince of Darkness back to where he had come from, but to no avail. They then tried to hide their mistake, however, realizing this might not go away as easily as their other mistakes, they needed help. The boys hurried for the schoolmaster, old Mr. Hodgson, who already well knew something was awry after his ensorcelled trencher had begun to spin by some necromantic spell. The schoolmaster hurried at once to confront the evil intruder, whom he found smugly awaiting him. Tauntingly, Satan called out to the schoolmaster, "Ye know the bargain, thou hast 3 chances to defeat me in battle of wits, or else thy soul is mine for eternity." Now, the wise schoolmaster challenged his adversary to first count all the blades of grass on the castle croft. In a flash of smoke, the devil hurried away to the banks of the Irwell near Bury Castle and completed the task in less than an hour. The schoolmaster then challenged him to count all the grains of sand on the school brow, but in this too the devil succeeded. For his final task, the undaunted and steady schoolmaster challenged Satan to count all the letters in the parish church's large Bible. After jeering that too would prove easy, Satan made his way to the nearby church, and upon finding the leather-bound book on the pulpit, he heaved open the cover. At once, however, the words on the ancient vellum began to dance and blur before his eyes, and he knew that he had been beaten. Enraged, Satan departed back into the fireplace, and with a deafening crack, a large fissure appeared in the stone. To this day, the devil's stone remains visible and now sits under a clock. Number 8. 2 demons. A Reddit user said they contacted Lilith and Lucifer. When asked what happened, they said, "You can feel their presence. When I summoned Lilith, she lightly had her energy around my neck, and I felt heavy weight on my body. She whispered to me, and I spoke to her, asked my parents' names, and she knew them. Treat Lilith like a mother, and don't take her lightly." Lucifer I summoned, and near the end of the summoning, I got past the fear stage where he kept putting the image of a skinwalker in my head, and then I made a deal with him in a white room, and his face was concealed to join the 1006 and to have my demands done after I wrote a letter to him. Number 7. Lasting effects. This Reddit user made a post called "I summoned a demon successfully." They said, "So tonight I was speaking a mantra to Ammon for the first time. I did for about 10 minutes. I've always been somewhat of a critic of it all, and nothing happened for the first 2 hours. About an hour ago to writing this, I was watching a video and had one earbud out and one in. I heard a growl with my ear that didn't have an earbud in it. Directly after, I got and still am completely ice cold and have goosebumps. It currently feels like someone is watching me, observing. I've absolutely never felt these kind of things before, just felt almost like a pinch on my left foot, and it is surrounding like there's movement coming from my kitchen. Am I angering it by sharing this? Oh my gosh, writing that question gave me a headache. It's going on and off, the pain. It's now the morning after, and I had extremely weird vivid dreams, which I may have like 1 to 2 times times a month, and I had around 4 I can recall. The most interesting, while frightening one, considered me and a friend driving somewhere I'd never seen before. We got out of our car along with everyone else for some reason. Suddenly it began raining in one specific spot in the middle of a bunch of trees. Immediately after, a volcano rose up from the ground in the distance and started spewing hellfire everywhere. The last moment I remember was fiery skies masked in smoke. I mean, it really felt like I was in hell. Number 6. Using prayer. This online user shared their story by saying, "I admit that I stupidly tried summoning a demon. Mostly, however, to have fun. I didn't think a demon would answer my call. Oh, and hell they did. Within a matter of months, I was hearing birds talk to me. I thought I was crazy, but I checked in with many doctors, but they couldn't seem to figure it out. As it turns out, after checking with the pastor, we certainly were having demon problems. Dang, and these demons are not easy to get around either. They are tricky and sneaky, and the only way I lived through this was by prayer."
In our number 5 spot today, we have this demon in your mind. This story comes from Sylvie on Reddit and starts off a few years ago after an argument with a friend. This friend was really upset, so Sylvie went to bed, definitely not feeling great about what had just happened and Sylvie's behavior that led to this argument. About halfway through the night, Sylvie thinks that they had a dream, but they can't for sure say because they remember it so clearly. Sylvie woke up and had a knife in their hand, and their room was illuminated by the moonlight. As they looked around the room, they saw on the wall some words that looked like they were written in blood. Sylvie looked around the room again when something caught her eye. There was some sort of creature in the dark corner of the room that looked like one of those deep sea fish with the scary eyes and the really sharp teeth. I think they're called anglerfish. As soon as Sylvie saw this creature, the moonlight in the room changed to a flashing orange light, and this is when Sylvie definitely woke up in a cold sweat. Sylvie chalked it up to just a really scary dream and went and got ready for school and went about their day, but they just could not shake this feeling. After the first period was over, Sylvie was feeling really anxious and they reached up to the cross necklace they were wearing when a voice spoke in their head. The voice said, "God won't save you." Sylvie said that they had a few more incidents with this demon, but after firmly telling it to leave and using their religion and faith as a guide and a protection, they have luckily been demon-free ever since. In our number 4 spot today, we have the demon in the basement. This story comes from the Reddit user DreamGuy72 and starts off in his first apartment in the summer of 1992 in Casper, Wyoming on none other than Elm Street. The apartment was a basement suite where Dreamguy and his boyfriend lived, and their friends occupied the main floor suite above them. One day, Dreamguy was home alone and was repainting the main bedroom when he decided to take a break. After he had a drink, he headed back into the main bedroom, but this is when all of his hairs stood up. He saw that there was something painted on the opposite wall from the one that he had been painting. His heart was absolutely pounding as he walked up to the writing, and this is where he saw that the paint was still wet and dripping down the wall. The paintbrush he had been using was exactly where he left it, and there wasn't any paint on the floor. The words just said, "I am here." He of course got out of there as quickly as possible, and when he told his boyfriend later, he just kind of dismissed it. A few months go by and Dreamguy and his boyfriend get home after a long day of both of them being out of the house all day. Dreamguy heads to the shower to get ready for bed, and as he's in the shower, he hears the bathroom door open and close. He of course just assumes it's his boyfriend, and he's rinsing the conditioner out of his hair when he asks his boyfriend if he is joining him in the shower, and that's when he hears the response, "Sounds good to me," but it is not his boyfriend's voice. He then feels ice-cold hands grab his shoulders and spin him around as he opens his eyes to see that no one else is there. He of course bolts it out of the bathroom, and he's now in the front room trying to catch his breath when he sees his boyfriend shaking, pointing to the bathroom, saying he saw it go in there. It's safe to say that Dreamguy didn't live there for much longer, and I am very glad he made it out of this apartment and lived to tell the tale. In our number 3 spot today, we have this lady ghost demon story. This story comes from the Reddit user 7-Leg Spider, and they really just dive in. Basically, for several years, Spider saw what they thought was just a lady ghost every night at the door of the closet. It happened for so long that Spider just got used to it and even started saying goodnight to her. Spider says she didn't look bad or rotten, she was just a lady with pale skin and dark hair. Anyway, after a few years of this, Spider finally tells a friend at school about the lady. This friend, of course, didn't believe the story right away, but the next day at school, he tells Spider that this lady tried to hurt him while he was sleeping. Now, Spider didn't believe the friend and thought he was just playing a prank. Some more time goes by and Spider decides to tell another friend about the lady, and the same thing happens where the next day she comes and tells Spider that the lady had tried to hurt her while she was sleeping. The first friend and the second friend didn't even know each other, so it's not like they could have been conspiring, which made Spider believe his first friend was telling the truth. Then, a while after that, Spider is on a video chat with a friend and they're talking about the paranormal when they both see something run across the screen. They chalk it up to just being a computer glitch, and Spider starts telling his friend about the lady, and then Spider begins to get extremely dizzy, like they're going to pass out. After it goes away, Spider tells their friend that they're okay, and the friend replies that they were out of it for at least a full minute, and that he could feel that someone was there trying to hurt Spider. I'm really glad that Spider and all the friends ended up being okay, and I really hope that they found a way to get rid of this lady demon. In our number 2 spot today, we have Zozo. This story comes from Reddit user Archaic Alchemy, who we'll call A. When A was 22, they were staying with their sister, and one night they had a couple of good friends over to hang out, and they decided to play around with a Ouija board, which is always the start of a good demon story. A had read about people encountering an entity called Zozo, and A really wanted some proof that things exist beyond our physical realm, so they wanted to use the Ouija board. Everyone places their hands on the planchette, and A calls out to Zozo. It took a few attempts before anything happened, but then the planchette began to move in figure eights. No matter what was asked, it just kept moving in figure eights until it finally spelled out M-A-M-A. That's us, we're MA. Maybe they were talking about our channel. A kept asking who they were talking to, and eventually they spelled out Zozo, and then things really escalated. The planchette was taken to the letters to spell out kill you, and when A asked who, Zozo spelled out one of the friends' names. They didn't take it seriously and kept asking more questions, and one friend made the mistake of insulting Zozo. The planchette begins frantically moving through the alphabet backwards over and over before it just stops. Then the energy in the room completely drops, and A knows that this means Zozo has manifested itself. Suddenly, A begins to laugh maniacally with no control over it. A could feel Zozo's presence inside and could feel Zozo turning all of this hatred and anger towards the friend that had been named before. A's emotions suddenly completely switch and they begin crying uncontrollably before again suddenly snapping back to anger. A's head turns involuntarily to look at the friend with a menacing grin as A pushes the planchette towards the friend. The friend decides it's rightfully time to leave, and shortly after they left, A felt like they regained control and Zozo's presence had disappeared. I'm so glad that nothing even crazier happened and that Zozo wasn't able to harm this friend. In our number 1 spot today, we have Velgrod. This story comes from the Reddit user Wheezy Donkey. Since he was a child, he's had interactions with a demon he knows as Velgrod. He first noticed the demon during the night as he was trying to fall asleep. It would continue saying his name quietly over and over again. This happened about once a month on a random night as he was trying to fall asleep, and he tried to ignore it, but every time it happened, the voice was a little louder because it was getting closer. One Friday night, he heard the voice and realized it was right at the end of his bed. He was frozen in fear, and every other night, if he waited long enough, the demon would just leave, but this time it wasn't happening. He found a lot of courage and lifted the blanket to inspect what he hoped was just his overactive imagination, but what he saw was too real for him to believe it was just imagination. This creature was tall and lanky with the yellow eyes of a reptile. His eyes were also bulging and very far apart. The creature apparently appeared as though he had been burned all over his body as he had charred and blistered skin. When the creature opened its mouth, it revealed its long lizard-like tongue that descended to its chest. In his right hand, he had a cane he was using to keep himself from falling over, but the cane was covered in barbed wire. In his other hand, Velgrod was holding the Bible that was on the nightstand. When he held the Bible up into the air, it was immediately engulfed in flames that left nothing but ash. The Velgrod kept eye contact the entire time as he used his foot to spread the ashes across the floor in a certain pattern, at the same time hissing menacingly. Velgrod then turned and began to walk away towards the door and down the stairs. Wheezy Donkey sat frozen with fear for a while before working up the courage to inspect the ash on the floor. When he finally did, he saw that the ash spelled out, "Hell is below you."